Ladies and gentlemen, all right, let's bring to the stage. Are you ready for start time? Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, all right, let's bring to the stage. Are you ready for start time? Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, all right, let's bring to the stage. Are you ready for start time? Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, all right, let's bring to the stage. Are you ready for start time? Are you ready?
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Spencer, in shock?
Of course, I thought it was the other way round. I thought he was going to stop him. Fabio Wardley, you look bruised and battered. What a pair of balls he's got. Fair play to him. That's changed his life, hasn't it, in a massive way. He's unbelievable, though. He's 5 rounds behind there for me. He comes out and wins. Same with Justice Hooning. 9 rounds behind, comes out and wins.
Have you got any more heavyweights for him?
No, I'm staying well away from him. It's ridiculous.
Boxing King Media, sub to their channel, big yourselves up. Spencer Brown, funny dude, good manager, pragmatic, and he'll fight his corner for the fighters he's managing. Obviously, he was joking when he said he was going to steer his fighters clear of Fabio Wardley, but he knows the deal. Anytime that he pitches one of his fighters in with Fabio Wardley, he knows the deal. He may have underestimated Fabio before, but not anymore. He believed that Hooney and Parker were going to beat Fabio. But Fabio is proving his worth. He's earned his keep. There are lots of boxers and promoters who still think they can get over on Fabio. They can see the chinks in the armour. That he's probably not doing a lot of things technically correct. Or it's not in the textbook. And maybe they're right. There are still more experienced boxers than Fabio coming from the amateurs into the pros. Is Usyk ducking Fabio because he's intimidated by his skill set and power? I doubt it. I just don't think he's motivated to take that fight. And if the Saudis are not backing it, there's not enough money in the pot likely to pay Alexander Usyk. I believe if Joseph Parker had beat Fabio Wardley, Usyk may have been under more pressure to fight Joe. Joe's a former WBO champion. He's globally a bigger name than Fabio, and Joe has a better resume of bodies on his record than Fab has, even though Fab just beat Joe.
There are people online that are calling it a duck from Usyk. I mean, come on, can we just be real for a second? The guy's been to everybody's backyard, fought every single fighter that he could, and never shied away from a contest. I don't think Alexander Usyk is ducking or running away from Fabio Wardley. I would suspect that he doesn't want to dance to the tune of the governing bodies who have put a time span on things. And what is he now, 38? When we all get to that age, the back's a bit sorer, isn't it? And he probably wants more time to recover, and he wants to plot his own course out of the sport. We know he hasn't got many fights left, and I would sense that he wants to go out on his own terms and maybe not to the beck and call of the WBO. But that isn't Fabio Wardley's problem, and that's not Fabio Wardley's issue. You just want to take the time to say congratulations to Fabio Wardley. The UK has a new heavyweight world champion, and his name is Fabio Wardley. It's a great story.
And new WBO heavyweight champion of the world, Fabio Wardley!
The Tractor Boy, he did it. From white collar to world champion, he did it. Basically, it's a film script waiting to be wrote and a movie waiting to be made. Regardless of what happens to his career from here. Regardless if he didn't win the title in the ring. Ken Norton didn't win his title in the ring. Lennox Lewis didn't win his first title in the ring. Let's face it, Ken wasn't afraid of Leon Spinks. He certainly wasn't afraid of Muhammad Ali. He fought him 3 times and arguably beat him on all 3 occasions. He only got one of the verdicts. But Spinks opted to fight Ali rather than fight his mandatory Ken Norton, and that's how Ken got the belt. Lennox wasn't afraid of Riddick Bowe. He beat him in the Olympic final. Riddick threw the WBC strap in the bin, and Lennox was awarded the title. But Lennox wanted his shot. Lennox went on to become undisputed champion. Fabio, he was up for fighting Usyk, but Usyk wasn't up for the fight. He didn't want to fight Joseph Parker. Turkey didn't want to make the Parker fight. And perhaps Turkey didn't want to make it on Alexander Usyk's request, in hindsight. And just like he vacated one of the scraps for AJ and Dubois to fight for, which Dubois won, he's vacated his WBO strap. Now, the geezer in the last clip speaking from Sky, he was doing a little fanboy thing for Usyk. And I'm a fan of Alexander Usyk, but because he's fought in everybody's backyard, and technically he's become undisputed heavyweight champion twice and is still lineal champion, which is more important in my opinion than undisputed. He's still lineal champion. But does that exempt you from your obligations? Now, he can do whatever he wants. Of course he can. You could argue he's earned the right. But a duck is a duck.
Duck alert, duck alert, duck alert, the alarm.
Parker and Wardley only happened because Usyk was either injured with his back or he didn't really want the fight. That's the only reason it happened. Serhai Lapine from Team Usyk said Usyk will fight the winner out of Joe and Fabio. And then he went back on that. Usyk is a master of mind games. Not like other fighters, but he's very subtle. But with his accomplishments, cruiserweight, undisputed, 2 times heavyweight champion, Olympic gold medalist, most who know anything about boxing are enamored by his skills, his accomplishments, the way he carries himself. And that's why a lot of people don't want to call it a duck. They don't want to entertain the definition of what he's doing for what it is.
Duck alert, duck alert, duck alert, the alarm.
If Tyson Fury was doing this, we'd be murdering him. Let's keep it real. When the undisputed fight between AJ and Fury fell through in 2021, Usyk was AJ's mandatory. And the Fury-AJ negotiations had just broken down. And within literally minutes of hearing Tyson Fury was going to fight Wilder, they was already saying that AJ ducked Usyk. A lot of them on Twitter, that's what they were saying. AJ's ducking Usyk. And AJ fought him. AJ would have been getting it both barrels if he avoided 2 mandatories on the bounce. Most heavyweights would not have got away with it. But Usyk's got us round his little finger a little. And fair play to him. You know what I mean? Team Usyk is very good at PR. And they're not too shabby in the ring either. Cabello hasn't got a shot. He's also in an interim mandatory position. He's got some fight in Germany which nobody's interested in. I'm not even sure if the Germans are interested in it. How long are we going to give him a pass? Or how long will we have to give him a pass? Let's see what he does New Year. I've got a feeling he's going to fight Fury. Don't know why. Because I don't know who else he's going to fight. Outside of AJ and Fury, what can give him the type of payday that him and his team may think they're warranted? Who can give him that type of payday? Who is going to motivate him? Wasn't motivated for Parker. Wardley. I doubt Moses sneaks in there. If Jake Paul beats AJ, he's going to fight Jake Paul. Trust me on that. And if the likely result, AJ knocking out Jake Paul, happens, he's definitely going to fight AJ. Fury's going to be in the mix of this somewhere. The marketing dollars are going to win out. Now, a lot of you can say it's not right beats, it's not this, it's not that. I could put the receipts on deck, the historical receipts. Can't be bothered to do it no more. I'm not even going to bother. But, not much has changed since the first Queensberry Rules World Heavyweight title fight, 1892. Not much has changed. If they had the technology we have today, they'd just do the same thing that's being done today. It is what it is. That's my opinion. One thing that media and fans cannot do is compartmentalize a debate. And it's a big issue I have with my channel. It's why I come into conflict with a lot of people who don't like the way I break the sport down. Now, my thing is to try and compartmentalize the debates and not conflate issues into one. Now, sometimes you can conflate, but both points have to be relevant to the one argument. Yes, Usyk is a road warrior. Yes, he's the best heavyweight out there. Yes, he's all that and a bag of chips. But yes, him and his team have cleverly avoided fights. Back in 2021, Alex Krashok said the purse split for a Usyk-Joe Joyce fight. At the time, they were the 2 top contenders. He said the purse split was 93% to 7% in favour of Usyk based on their last 3 purses. He explained that the negotiations stalled because the minimum allowed by the WBO was 80-20, and Joyce's team felt the 93-7 split was unfair. Krashok said it was a matter of mathematics and not a personal opinion. The fight fell apart, and Team Usyk just bided their time. The AJ Fury fight fell apart, and then they went after that. Does it sound ethically fair? A 93-7 split? Isn't he just telling us that they don't want the fight? I mean, he wasn't even prepared to compromise 80-20, which was the minimum allowed by the WBO. That was in 2021. And this year, Krashok, by this time, had split with Usyk, but he still let us know that a FABIO Wardley fight makes no sense. He argues that it is a high-risk, low-reward fight for Usyk, suggesting that Wardley is not a big enough name. So this is how Team Usyk is going about business. Team Usyk used to be part of K2, Klitschko brothers. Team Usyk is very familiar with Klitschko's practices of lowballing their opponents.
Allegedly.
So let's not pretend that it's Saint Usyk always does right by the sport. Nah, he's very much going for Dolo. He called Tyson Fury greedy belly because Tyson asked for an unreasonable split to fight him, didn't he? The only thing is Tyson isn't as sophisticated. He's not as subtle as Team Usyk.
Usyk, you and your team are worth 30%. You either take it or you leave it.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Are you a 50-cent man, Frank?
No, I'm a $4, mate.
Frank Warren on some Jay-Z shit, because when the money's all spent.
I'm about $1. What the fuck is 50 cents?
As to Conor Benn's performance, I was speaking to Gareth A. Davies about this yesterday, but is it a matter of Conor being A+ and Chris Eubank Jr. being A-? How do you assess that?
Well, I keep saying about Chris Eubanks Jr. He's 36 years of age. Every time he stepped up, he's got beat. You know,
the weight or...
Is it the weight? No, I just think it's what it is.
And
He was comfortable at the weight of the other fights he had. You either got it or you haven't. But he's done well. He's a public schoolboy. That's what his background is. It's not like a kid who's had a hard life. It takes a lot of balls to do that, and I'll give him credit for what he's done. But the truth of the matter is, I've never, ever, ever bought into what a lot of people seem to have bought in, that he was going to be the next big thing. And he ain't going to be the next thing when he's 37, that's for sure.
What Frank said was harsh about Eubank, but at 36, with all the opportunities he's had, it's true. And for all the people talking about beats and match from propaganda, this is exactly what Conor Benn will be judged on when he's a similar age to Chris. Where's the belts? Where's the sanctioning belts? The legit ones, not IBO, not regular. Conor worked on his boxing, boxed a lot better than last time, and I said it in my last vid. This weren't all down to Chris's weight. Chris weighed in lighter than Conor in the official weigh-in and on the second day weigh-in.
He's got power, this kid. You know, he was bigger than me on the scouts. I don't know how you did it. I'm looking at him, he's 168. I'm 165. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
So he obviously got his nutrition, his strength and conditioning and prep for the weight better than what he did last time, because he took more punishment in the second fight. But he was rushed to hospital in the first fight for dehydration. I haven't seen no receipts for the second fight where he was dehydrated. So I don't believe the weight was the issue that some people are trying to make it to be. A lot of people are not realizing is to be a great boxer is dealing with the constraints that making weight puts on your body to perform in the ring. If we was to make an exaggerated example, even at 11 stone 9, Conor Benn is still not at his strongest. If Conor was allowed to come in at 12 stone plus, he'd be even stronger. That's probably what he walks around at. According to this receipt, he rehydrated at 170, and the margins at this level are that tight. Yeah. Of course, Chris, being the bigger man, is going to have more trouble with the weight limit than Conor. Of course. But Conor is still the smaller man. And like I said, True Geordie was the only one to give credence that no one is talking about how much bigger Chris is. It's all about how Chris is struggling on the scale.
Their fathers were evenly matched in height, in reach, in size, in experience. This was a much less experienced Conor Benn, a 3 inches shorter Conor Benn, a 5 inches less reach advantage Conor Benn, a person who's weighing about a stone or more less than his opponent. Like, Conor Benn was massively disadvantaged in this fight, and I don't think enough gets made of that because of the way Chris Eubank has cried and made such a massive deal over this rehydration clause.
Conor worked on his feints and worked on his jab to make Chris come out of his construct, knowing that Chris's legs at 36 and making the weight is going to have all types of issues. Boxing is about being an opportunist, an exploiter. If you know your opponent is likely to be struggling on the scale, what can you do to exacerbate his struggle? Now that's a skill in itself. For the boxer and his coach, what are the tactics? Terence Crawford stood in front of Canelo a lot more than what Canelo expected. Why? Because Crawford knew that Canelo's punch rate has dropped dramatically in the last few years. So he knew he could trade with Canelo more than he probably could 4 years back. And he took advantage of that. That's why Terence is so high up on the pound-for-pound scale. Mayweather did a similar thing. People were shocked that Floyd didn't run as much as they thought he would from Canelo. But when you're talking about Mayweather and Crawford, you're talking about the best. Now, Conor isn't nowhere near there, but him and Tony Sims were good enough to get their tactics right and exploit Chris's lack of ring craft. He's a good fighter, but Chris's problems started years back, going from how he was fighting with his dad to what we saw against Liam Williams when he was under the influence of Roy Jones. His punch output dropped dramatically, and the amount of times he switched trainers, his age, him not being the specimen he was a few years back, is catching up to him. It's not just weight. If he goes up to 168, he's going to have serious issues compared to when he was fighting at 168 a few years back, because he's not as strong as he was. If he moves up to 168 and fights the same version of himself who fought George Groves a few years back, who do you think's going to win? Chris is going to get torn up. People keep talking about the weight. He's a 36-year-old fighter whose physical prime is declining, and he's caught in the middle of whether he's a boxer or a slugger. A lot of the super middleweights are around his height or taller with longer reaches, so he could be comfortable making the weight at 168. But he's going to be dealing with a new set of issues. Natural 168 pounders who have more leverage on their shots than Conor. It is what it is.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
You gotta flow, Joe. You gotta flow, Joe.
How long ago was Joseph Parker versus Wardley? 3 weeks ago? So basically, if Joe had sat tight and maybe just took a stay busy fight against someone less dangerous than FABIO Wardley, he could be sitting as two-time WBO heavyweight champion. That's crazy. So the last few weeks have been the worst in Joseph Parker's career, without a doubt.
Lots could be made of that stoppage. It was Howard Foster, who was infamous for an early stoppage. What did you make of the stoppage?
I thought it was early because the same thing happened to Fabio, but it is what it is. We can't complain about it, but he is notorious for stopping people very early.
Have you spoke to Joe?
No, I'm going to go and see him now. I think Joe will be devastated, you know. He's done such a good run. But again, Joe hasn't fought for a long time. He's notoriously hard work when he's not fighting. Inactivity is a killer, isn't it? And he's been out for a year.
So Joe, obviously frustrated by getting snubbed by Usyk, then having to take the
FABIO
fight, inactive, and he seemed to be itching to get back in the ring. Has that perhaps led to him gravitated to a wayward lifestyle? Spencer Brown said, when Joe's not fighting, he's notoriously hard work. That can mean many things. As the saying goes, the devil makes work for idle hands. Some people are saying he took the coke on the day of the fight. No, he got popped on the day of the fight. And apparently he took the coke a few days before he got in the ring. While he was still in camp, basically.
Now I'm sitting in a courtroom all day. I claim I'm innocent, but that's what they all say.
So basically Parker's saying he took a voluntary test. He's surprised about the adverse result. He did not take any prohibited substance. He does not use performance-enhancing drugs and does not support their use. He is cooperating fully with the process and he's confident the investigation will clear his name. Basically, hoping for the B sample to come up with some miracle.
Bottom line, not gonna happen.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Ladies and gentlemen, all right, let's bring to the stage. Are you ready for start time? Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, all right, let's bring to the stage. Are you ready for start time? Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, all right, let's bring to the stage. Are you ready for start time? Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen,